Hold on to your mug. We're in for a wild night.
Greeting, traveler.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Born to be Wild, a Wild exclusive Hearthstone podcast where we have fun hanging out with friends, talking about the Wild format of Hearthstone and spotlighting members of the Wild community. I am your host, as always, Nate Wolf. It is great to be back with you all on another beautiful, hot, sunny Friday evening here in Portland, Oregon, and joined by two of my favorite people. Hydra, how you doing tonight?
I am doing amazing, coming at y'all from beautiful British Columbia. Also an amazing and a little bit cooler of a day, so I am doing awesome.
Nice. And Electric Sheep City, welcome back. How are you?
Meowdy, I'm doing pretty well. It's actually been raining here in Southeast Texas lately, so we take those.
Wow, raining. Is it like hot rain or is it cool?
Oh yeah, it's hot rain. Like as soon as it stops raining, then the sun peeps back out. It immediately starts just like baking the rain back off and gets so humid. It's that part's not fun, but we get rain.
Hey,
we like it.
We take that, right? Well, you guys, we got a very special guest joining us tonight. So, brief introduction here. We are joined by Labore Sangre, wild legendary Hearthstone streamer, writer for AceGamesGuide, and deck innovator of such decks as Wild Recruit Warrior and the original Scimitar Rogue. Welcome back to the show, Labore. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's good to be back, definitely. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's exciting. I was looking over our old notes and realized that, like, when we last had you on the show, it was a little over a year ago. Looking back, It was episode 14, which is back in June of 2020, just over a year ago. So it has been a long journey for all of us. Our show in particular has got a total lineup change over that period of time. A lot has changed, but it's been a blast. So for people who may not be familiar with you or missed the old episode, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? Just who are you? How'd you get started playing Hearthstone? Why do you like the Wild format? That sort of thing.
Yeah, no problem. So my name is Labore Sangre. I've been playing Hearthstone since one of the first expansions. I remember it's before LOE, like a little after, let's say, Classic Mode right now. They were a little more advanced into it. I was maybe on the tail end of Classic Mode decks. But I started playing back then, so I've been around for most of the time. I want to say within like a year or two whenever Hearthstone first came out. But the way that I got into Wild was, for a while I'd been playing Standard, and I got kind of tired of like Face Hunter and Embiggen Druid. Like right around the time that Embiggen came out was whenever I started like switching to mainstream like Wild, like mainly focusing on the Wild format. But I would go to Wild to to escape what I didn't like in Standard. So I would play Reno decks for different classes, just have fun there, and play a lot of like Gadded Sand Auctioneer, Miracle Rogue. So it was where I just play fun decks in Wild, and I started just playing it more and more and kind of taking a step away from Standard into Wild. And I've been playing that ever since for a little over 2 years, I think. It's been my main format, which has been great.
Nice. I always think of you as like the rogue guy, but I've seen you do so many crazy wombo combos, and I think in my mind you're like the king innovator of like off-meta decks, because, I mean, we talk about Wild Recruit Warrior, but I've seen you do the Scimitar Rogue, but then I've seen these other things like, I think my favorite deck of yours was your Overload Shaman with all the snow giants.
That was cool.
It's so
One
crazy.
Of my best for sure. What I love about that is that it runs Meat Wagon too. Like people are like, wait, what, Meat Wagon? But it's actually really good.
I mean, the beauty of playing the off-meta stuff, I think, is someone sees you play it and they're like, wait, is this a joke? Like, did they discover that?
Yeah.
Wait, did they put it in there
don't see it yet.
on purpose?
Like, what is this?
Wait a minute. That's great. Hey, do you someone's asking, hey, how many rogue wins do you have?
Oh geez, I think I hit 7,000. Oh gosh, I'm around 7,700, like between 7,700 and 7,800, I think.
That's incredible.
That is
Awesome.
nuts.
I don't even know how I got there, to be honest. Like I've played a couple decks over time and a lot of decks, but like 7,000 wins worth, it just seems crazy to me. Considering like for the past 2 years, I've played so many other classes than Rogue, but feels good though.
Hey, that's awesome.
I just can't wait for the quadruple sevens down there. That's gonna look really cool for the split second that it lasts before you get another win.
That's insane.
Do you have a favorite archetype or a favorite deck, favorite class? I mean, it's probably Rogue with that number of wins, but
So, okay. In regards to like what I've played the most overall, it would definitely be Rogue. In terms of like one of my favorite decks that I've came up with, I think probably that Shaman deck does probably take the cake as far as like off meta, like actually a lot of potential and a lot of fun. Like it just mimics Dark Lair, but like no one really thought of it. Like, it's just kind of crazy because Dark Lair was so meta, but like no one really thought of trying it in Shaman with Spirit of the Frog at the time. So that was probably kind of the innovation highlight. But yeah, also Warrior. I really enjoy like Dead Man's Hand or Big Warrior or that kind of stuff. But yeah, a lot of rogue archetypes sneaking in there too is enjoyable ones for me.
nice.
And you've been streaming for quite a while now, right? What got you into streaming Hearthstone, and how's that been going for you?
Wow. So for whenever I didn't mention this earlier, but whenever I first started Hearthstone, it was actually like watching my friends. So my friends and I would go to sports practice for soccer, and afterwards we would all go to like a Dairy Queen or something, and they would all queue up an arena game, and we'd all be like, pick that card, no pick that card, no pick that card, after getting like a blizzard or something. So for me, like we always joked about like, wow, imagine if we like streamed this or something, or and in college, I never really had the technical know-how or like the motivation to get into it. But in college, there was a friend who used to play Hearthstone that I like casually got back into Hearthstone for a couple months there. Back whenever, what's the card? Hunter was like really good in Standard. It was like Master's Call Hunter. They might have had Zul'Jin too, but there's like Zul'Jin Rexar, and every Hunter was like so good back then. But like right around that age, I started streaming because I had really tried back then and got a good rank. I was playing like Malagos Rogue and also kind of it didn't have Scimitar, but a similar list that had like Shadowblade like way back then with Raiding Party. And I'd gotten a pretty good legend, and my friend helped me set up the streaming stuff, and we did a couple streams together, and just in general, that's how I got into it. But I always wish that I started sooner for sure.
Yeah, well, it's been going pretty good for you, I'll say. I always appreciate your streams.
Yeah, me too. They're super fun, and I love like as a night owl, I appreciate like the late night stream. So it's good on you for that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I used to stay up so much later, and you were always on, and it was always like, Labore is on no matter what. I'm gonna be able to watch Labore. Now I've been going to bed so much earlier, so I haven't been able to catch it as much recently. But I definitely do love it when I catch it.
Yeah, a lot of people say that too. Like I just happen to be up. Like, good to see you again. Like it's been a while because just progressively gotten like a little later. Sometimes I'll stream early, but yeah, definitely on there pretty late.
What time do you normally start at now?
Holy cow! So I'll get off work at like 1:30. So I'll take a little bit of time to myself, and keep in mind this is like after midnight in Eastern time.
Yeah.
Like in the morning. I'll probably start around like 2:30, sometimes like 3 a.m. and probably stream for like 3 or 4 hours.
Wow.
Depends. Yeah.
I knew I hadn't caught one of your streams in a little while, and that makes
explains
sense
why.
why I hadn't.
I know, because I used to start around like midnight or not as late, maybe like 1 or something, but just gotten later and later progressively.
Absolutely.
Hey, so I saw you were practicing Dark Lair this past week. How are you liking that?
Yeah, so the main deck I was playing before Dark Lair was Tog Druid. I was really into Tog Druid because there was so many cards you could play. Like after the alignment, you could draw through your entire deck and then like swap decks and play your opponent's card. And it was really cool thinking through like, well, how many cards do I want to play through my deck, and how many cards do I want to play through my opponent's deck, and do I want to play alignment after I swap decks? For me, Tog was really enjoyable, but I got to a certain point to where there was like so much Mutanus and like Dirty Rat and like Lothab that I was losing to that like 3 out of 4 times that I lost, and I was like, okay, I need a breather. And Glare suggested that I learn, of course, Dark Glare, you know, his go-to deck.
He did he?
He did, huh? Of all people, no. So for channel points, there's a channel point that says like play a deck or something like that, and that was requested, like play Dark Glare, and did a co-op with him, and I started enjoying it a little bit, kind of figuring out what all the rage was about, because I'm always super late to whatever meta deck there is. Like I always try it. I tried Quest Mage, you know, Reno Priest when it was good, but I always wait like a couple months in, let other people play it first, and then try it, finally give in to the temptation. But yeah, Dark Glare is pretty fun. I really like running the Zephrys variations and just doing a lot of burn from hand, or discovering Flare and saying GG Ice Block, nice try. But yeah, it's really, I enjoy it. I need to play a little bit more of Glare, because whenever I played it, it was like top 200, and everyone there knows how to play against Glare, and I don't know how to play Glare, so
Oh yeah, that sucks.
But,
That makes it a little more difficult. Yeah.
It's a good deck to actually play at the start of the month when you have all your bonus stars and you're just climbing up if you're not looking
yeah,
to...
definitely for learning too, yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Did you play the version with Enhanso Mechano?
I have never played Enhanso Mechano. I feel like that was a thing like months ago. Like a lot of people like popped off with it like months ago, and it kind of fell out of favor, but yeah.
I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying it's fun.
It's flashy.
Yeah, I've definitely lost to Enhanso Mechano. Like of all the things, it gave everything Wind Fury. Excuse me, like
all according to plan.
Right? Yeah,
That's amazing.
go figure.
Well, we've already asked you this question in the past, but I'm going to ask again because it's been a long time. Where did you get your name, and what does it mean?
The classic question. So there are a couple of answers to that question. Number one is back in high school, like early high school, when I was just starting out then, my friend, his name was something similar. So take my name and maybe add a couple of words. But that was his name, so it was kind of a shout out to him. But also at the time, like I mentioned, I was playing soccer in high school, and one of our mottos was like this Latin phrase that had something to do with like, you know, there's not work without blood, or like that shows like the effort, or put effort into it, and there will be blood, but you'll get over it, or something like that in Latin.
That's
so
metal.
while it's kind of up for interpretation what it means, like the Labore part kind of means work, like labor, and the Sangre part means blood. So I think that's part of the cool part of the name, is just taking the interpretation and taking what you will out of that.
So Dark Glare is a perfect complement to your name.
Pain and success, yeah.
A little pain goes a long way. Yeah.
Yeah. Agony.
Hey, that makes sense. Well, we've got a lot to talk about, so let's get into how our weeks were. Nate, what have you been up to? What's been going on in your world, in real life, Hearthstone, whatever?
Yeah, it's been a good week. I mean, it's been like a long week. We're going through a lot of stuff at work, so the work aspect of it has been really super busy and kind of crazy. But for personally, like my parents are here visiting from California, so that's been kind of fun. I haven't seen them in a long time, and so that's been good. In terms of gaming, I've been jamming some Diablo 3 kind of to prep for that Diablo 2 re-release in September. So I've just kind of been playing it super casually, but it's been a lot of fun. And in terms of Hearthstone, it's been kind of fun. Like most of my Hearthstone lately has been co-op sessions with Blue Train, especially, and 6J and NHL. And so actually, like I had a lot of fun over the past couple days. I was kind of chasing that 11x and ended this season the last night. Did another co-op with Blue Train and 6J and ended the night at 372. And then we were on, like, I camped there, and it was like, well, I could play for another like hour or so, but I went on this like giant win streak, and it was like, well, I'm due to lose, and I was like gaining about 50 ranks a win, and I was so I jumped like pretty quickly. I mean, I started that night. I started at like the high 700s, and I just like tore through, and it was playing Pirate Warrior, and I was like, I think it was Blue. Yeah, it was Blue Train. I think you said like I don't want to jinx it, but I think you might be due for a loss. Like maybe we want to camp. And I was like, you know what? If I don't get it, I don't get it. That's fine. Like I'm trying to have fun. I had fun hanging out with you and Jay, and I am trying to push Warrior wins anyways. I was at 639 when I took that screenshot, and midnight hit, and they were like, hey, log on, share your screen. We want to see what happened. And so, yeah, here's what happened. I got it. So,
let's go.
Yeah, it's exciting. My first 11x bonus.
Nice.
And Blue Train goes, hey, I want to share some advice with you. Don't, like, when you start out, now that you've got this, you're going to be playing against people who also have 11x, and like, don't be too like upset when you start losing super hard, because like the the competition goes up. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And so the next morning I jumped on, like, lost, played another game, lost, and I was like, okay, I'm taking a little break. So my star is missing. I got 11 black stars, or 11 missing stars rather, but I'm excited anyways. This is my first time doing it, and I'll report back next week to see how the climb is going. But yeah, it's been exciting. I was talking to Jordan earlier this week from the People's Champ podcast. I bought some nano leaf lights, so I'm excited. I'll try to hang those maybe over the weekend or something. They're a little complicated, and they're way bigger than I thought they would be, but it should be a lot of fun. And then I found myself every week talking about like, hey, this is what movie I watched last week. It was pretty good. So here's my movie of the week quickly. It's called Monstrum. It is a Korean movie. It takes place in the 16th century, where there is essentially like this army, and there is this there like may or may not be this mythical monster that everyone thinks is fake, but it might be real. And this like ex-military guy gets like re-enlisted to find out whether it's real. It was really good. I have been enjoying that. So that's my movie of the week. It's fun.
Cool.
Anyways, that's enough about me. Sheep, what have you been up to?
Yeah, so my week was really busy as well. There's a lot of kind of like just changes going on at work, which has meant, a lot of scrambling. 'Tis the season, right?
Oh, yeah.
Outside of work, though, I've been doing a lot of practicing for my Legacy THL match. So, unfortunately, Labore and I did not make it into the playoffs in our Wild series. But in Legacy, we were playing in the finals. Like that's how far we are in right now.
Hey, sorry, can I interrupt you for 1 second? For those of us scrubs who, like, I know Standard and I know Wild, but what is Legacy? What does that mean?
Oh, good question. Okay, so Legacy is in the Standard format, but it's closed deck list. So at the deadline, you submit your 4 classes. And so, that's what you see for your opponent. And then whenever you ban, you're just banning a class, but you can only bring in, like, the 4 decks. So whenever you do that, you actually, whenever you're banning, instead of going through the website and stuff like that, you actually do this. You type bubble, and then you take a screenshot to where you only show the 4 decks that you brought, or a fifth if you're banning something that you don't also have. So like I usually do like beep beep, I'm a sheep, and have ban as the A. That's just my fun way of doing it. But so it's completely closed deck list is a really big takeaway.
Ooh.
Got it.
So
I like that idea.
Yeah, I love closed deck list. It's so much fun. Like, I understand why we don't do it so much for Wild because the possibilities are like endless.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more fun with a smaller card pool. So that's what Legacy in particular corresponds to. My team is in the finals right now, and my game was on Thursday, or my match was on Thursday. My 1 seed swept, got 1-3-0. Our 4 seed went 1-3, and I won 3-2, and I tight match. So if one of the next two people on our team wins, then we win the entire season. So like,
Holy cow,
so
dude!
excited.
That's congrats. That's fantastic.
Wow.
Thank you. Yeah, I in particular have had kind of an insane season this season in Legacy. I wasn't thinking it was so wild, but then you know me, I'm a big fan of spreadsheets, and so I started, just putting all of my personal stats into a spreadsheet, and realized that in my 8-3 record, all of my 3 losses, I got 2 game wins. So like the conditional formatting was like a binary green or white, and the white was just two wins. So like that felt incredible. At the 3 seed, there's a lot of pretty intense competition. So like the fact that I was there just felt really rewarding. I struggle with imposter syndrome quite a bit. And so whenever I was plugging that in, I was like, okay, I can maybe stop it with the imposter syndrome for that format now, I guess.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
No, that's fantastic. Your stats are great. So, I don't know. Good job. I hope you guys win it. What's the name of your team?
Yeah, so we are the Standard THL Degenerates, which, if you put that into an acronym, it's just fun.
Yeah. There's a medication you can get for that.
Yeah, depending on which variety.
Or it might be permanent.
Yeah. So that's been things in the sheep pen over here. Have things been in Labore land?
Things have been pretty busy for me, but pretty good as well. Just like Nate, I'm happy to share that I did get the 11 times this month. It was the first time. It was the first time since I want to say like 3 or 4 months, probably more on the 4-month side. Last time, I can't remember if I scooped in there with Millrogue. I took a month to play Millrogue as my competitive deck, but before that, I got it with Scimitar Rogue, so it has been a while since I've gotten that 11 times. But I did a lot of the work from like 1900 Legend with Togwaggle Druid. And I cleaned up the rest. I kind of went up to 300 and dropped down to 700. Like I said, the Lothubs, the Mutanuses, the Dirty Rats started having a bit of a hard time as Tog became like meta, or like people kind of figured out that was a deck and people were trying to counter it. So then I started picking up Dark Glare and managed to cruise into 11 times territory, which is really cool for me.
Exciting. Congrats. That's
incredible.
great.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Usually the way that I operate is I start trying around like the last week. So I'll just play off meta stuff, and the last week I'll try and pick up a deck and try to get up to 11 times. Kind of like what Keith Numbers does, I guess, right? Like always just going for like different decks or like chat decks. I'll do that. I'll like make my own concepts or like revisit old memes. Play a bunch of like the Giant Shaman or off meta stuff and just try and get back up in the last week or so. But my personal goal for this season is actually a pretty ambitious goal, considering I'm not going about it very quickly right now. But my goal is to get a top 10 at some point in this month, because whenever I played Scimitar, my best rank was 11. So I kind of need to break that 11. It's my best rank ever. So we'll see if I have it in me this month or if I'll have to wait for another month. So
Nice.
That would be awesome.
You got this, I believe.
I think setting goals is a good idea, and whether it's to beat, especially if it's to beat like a personal record. I forgot to add it myself. My goal this month is to hit 1K with Warriors, so I've got 60 wins left that I need. It's a lot, but not a lot. I don't know. It's somewhere in between. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that's great. I think you can do it.
that'd be so sick. Oh my gosh. I could get up that high again and beat my record, yeah, that'd be really cool.
Hydra, what have you been up to?
Well, for me, we had, last week we were talking about how we had the heat wave that came through up here in, for you, Nate, the Pacific Northwest, for us here in the Vancouver area. It was just absolutely brutal, and it's finally, coming down a little bit, but it got to the point where it was 87 degrees in the house with 2 AC units running at full power the whole time. And it was still 87 in the house. It was absolutely ridiculous. And I'd ordered a couple AC units online. And funny thing happened is they said they weren't coming till mid-July. And then Amazon called me and said, hey, the warehouse is actually in Burnaby. And Burnaby is a city that's not far from the city that I live in. Like, if you just want to come pick up your AC unit now and not wait 2 weeks for, it to... like, you could just come get it. And I'm like, I will see you, like, in however long it takes me to drive there. So I hopped in the truck and went and grabbed it. And it was like a big one. It's a 14,000 BTU AC unit. So as soon as I got this thing home, I plugged this thing in and just stood in front of it. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I probably sounded like Hazelbark dying when I was standing in front of this thing. It was yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so life is now complete. And I got another little one that actually just showed up today for my kids' room. So we're decked out with AC. We will not die the next time it happens. We will be okay.
Nice.
So yeah, super happy about that. I was mentioning before that I've been reading Dr. Sleep.
Yeah.
The sequel to The Shining. I'm like almost halfway through, and it's so good. It's really, really good. Nate, we'll have to talk about it when I'm done.
Oh yeah.
I
would
actually
love to.
I cheated a little bit. I didn't give myself any spoilers, but I actually watched like the first half an hour of the movie. Just because I was like, I want to see what this looks like in the movie.
Oh, so, that's great. The movie did a really good job. A really good job.
They really did.
But
especially, you got to watch that director's cut. It's so good.
Yeah, that's what it was. It's the HBO director's cut.
Yeah.
But I only watched a bit, and then I stopped it before it got too far. So I didn't want to
dangerous territory right there.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if I had mentioned this, but I bought Hollow Knight last week on the Steam sale.
I'm so proud of you.
And I also got a copy of it for my wife, and that's what she's doing right now, is she's actually playing it in the bedroom. Like, as soon as she was off work, she's like, I'm so excited right now. Like, I'm just going to sit in the bedroom and play Hollow Knight all night while you're doing the show.
It's like one of my favorite games of all time. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, she's having a great time. Like, yesterday I was playing ladder, and she was sitting on the couch behind me, and I can tell that the game does sound a little frustrating at times, because she's like, God dang it. Versing this one boss like 10 times in a row. So this weekend I'm gonna jump into that, but I've been also playing Red Dead Redemption 2 again, so trying to balance things. Too many games to play. It's ridiculous.
Goodness. I will hit you up after the show, because there was a couple of things that really helped me in Hollow Knight. With no spoilers really, but some helpful tips. And number 2 is coming out soon, like really soon. And so this is like a really good time to play it. Yeah.
And so Super Metroid on the Super Nintendo was one of my all-time favorite games. And from what I can tell, like by just reading up on Hollow Knight, it's a very similar style of game in like how you're slowly growing your map, and it's like in the Metroidvania style. So that's something I like. So yeah, we'll talk about it later. Another thing that happened to me was I had an issue with my mouse, and I'm playing Hearthstone, and I kept noticing that my mouse was like wiggling a little bit on the screen. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. I'd move it around a little bit and it would go away. And then it would come back where it was just cursor was like moving on the screen a little.
Huh.
And it was getting really annoying. And then I noticed like in the little laser part at the bottom, there's a bunch of like a dust bunny in there basically, right? So I pulled that out and I thought that I was all good. And it happened again and then again. And then I was playing on Asia, and this is my final boss to the D5. And I was playing, I think I was playing Big Priest or something. I had a Hysteria, and I went to go point it at something, and my mouse moves over to the next minion, and it, like targets like a 1/1 or something when I'm like trying to target a giant.
Rip.
And I'm like, I'm like, are you kidding me? And I like get up out of my chair, and I'm like, what the bad word is wrong with my mouse? Like, that just cost me the game, and I was all mad, and I couldn't figure it out. And I sit back down, and my wife's on the couch behind me, and she's like, is your mouse moving now? And I look at the screen, I'm like, yeah, it is. And she's like, oh my God. Like, what? She's like, I was using your computer, and I was using my wireless mouse. It's on the couch next to me. And so every time she would, like, move or, like, shuffle or do something, it was, like, sitting just, like, next to her leg. And it was just moving with any little bit she moved. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
That's great. That's so funny. I'm sorry that happened, but that's so funny.
But I burst out laughing, actually. I ended up getting my D5 on Asia because that's just usually what I do is I try to get D5 over there. But I was like, I did it. It was fine. Okay. And I was laughing about it. She's like, I'm surprised you're in such good spirits about that.
Sometimes you gotta laugh. I mean, geez, life's too short, but that's pretty funny. It's easy it's easy to joke about it later. I think at the time it's like, but
well, and knowing that you figured out what it was that was doing it the whole time, that's got to be kind of relieving that like it wasn't just completely broken. It was that you found the issue.
Yeah, at least you know why. Yeah.
Are you guys old enough to remember having the mouses that you had to take apart and clean the ball and the trackpads inside? Like, scratch all the gunk out from inside. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. We had them at school, and every kid would steal the ball, and so none of the mice had balls in them. It was always a problem.
Jeez.
But yeah, yesterday I had the day off of work, so it was, hey, let's climb today, day one, let's go. And I had the worst win rate I think I've ever had in a day of Hearthstone. I didn't even break 50%. It was actually horrible. And I just kept queuing, but like after playing for hours, I only got to Platinum 10.
I was the same way, actually.
Were you? Yeah, it was just brutal. And
I was on like 11 times too, but I only played for a couple of hours, but I don't know.
And then I would hop servers, like, so I was getting discouraged on NA, so I hopped over to Asia, I think, and I only got up to like Silver 5, and it wasn't going well. And I'm like, oh, I'll play on EU. Maybe the meta's different there. And I was just jumping around. It was probably a bad idea. I should have just stuck to one. But definitely looking for a deck to jam on ladder because whatever I was doing, it wasn't working.
Yeah, so, I don't know. With the day one meta is also very difficult, hostile, whatever the right word is. Like it's different than the rest of the month. I mean, that's
for
when,
sure.
Like all the people are tryharding, and I mean, it is what it is, but don't feel bad.
Yeah. Well, that was my week. Sheep, how about you tell us what's been going on in the listener series?
Oh my gosh. I can't wait to tell you about it because speaking of the finals, we had the finals of the listener series last week.
Yeah, is it okay to spoil? Can we spoil? It's been a week.
It's been a week. Yeah, it's been a week. You put it up on YouTube like
Only a week.
Like
the very next
immediately.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like we can spoil it. It was a 5-game slog out between Maxi and Corbett. And Corb came away with the win. It was so clutch. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was, and we had such a good turnout too. And it was so fun to see like Maxi's friends or family or whoever it was like rooting for him in the chat. It was just so wholesome. Like,
That was awesome.
It was heartwarming. Absolutely. So if you haven't watched it, despite knowing that the result, it's a 5-game series. It's worth watching.
It was neck
Check
and
it out
neck.
on YouTube
Yeah.
if you haven't seen it. It's great.
yeah, heck yeah.
So if anyone is interested in participating in season 3, now that season 2 is complete, we're going to take a little bit of a break before we return. So stay tuned for more information to follow in the coming weeks. But if you have any feedback from this past season, be sure to put it in our listener series Discord. We have a specific channel for feedback and ideas and brainstorming and stuff like that. So any input that y'all give us can just help us make the series even better.
Yeah. It was great. And I'm excited. I think we'll, with enough time and planning, and we can really make it pop off. I think should be pretty cool.
Yeah. However much season 2 is awesome, and it really was. I think season 3 is going to be even better. So
100%.
Cannot wait for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What else I can't wait for is to hear what all happened in Hearthstone news this week, because it's a lot. Here to break it down for us is our very own Hydralisk. Hydra, what news may possibly have broken this past week in Hearthstone?
So much.
so much. But the big one to just kick it off is we do have our newest expansion that is coming out. It has been announced as predicted. Since we already had a Baron's Horde expansion, we now have an Alliance themed expansion. United in Stormwind has been announced, and we have a release date as well. So no guessing there. It comes out on Tuesday, August the 3rd.
Nice.
So I'm pretty excited about this, guys.
Yeah. So it's, what is it, about a month away? About a month away now.
Yeah, a
1
month.
month, 1 day.
Month and a day,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's exciting. Was it just me, or was this like out of nowhere? It was like I wasn't expecting it, and then all of a sudden it's like announcement, and I don't know. I guess maybe real life has been busy. Like the timing is right, I suppose, but
It seemed out of nowhere to me. Like usually, I feel like there's way more theorizing about when it's going to happen and what it's going to be, and it just seemed to here it is.
Right? I will say thematically, like, I think they've done such a good job and a fun job this year with the mercenaries, because there's so much like unique lore to Hearthstone where, okay, we're starting to see everything coalesce between the Book of Heroes, so all these unique stories happening, and then we had the Barons expansion, and kind of see what's happening with these mercenaries or heroes or whatever you want to call them. And so when they did the trailer for this Stormwind, it's like our heroes have made their way through the Barons, and now they've landed in Stormwind, and they all look exhausted, and they're like, everyone's all nice. Here, have a drink. Here, go to the tavern. Here, have some food. And it was like, they've done such a good job just pulling it all together. It's been so fun to me. Like, I wasn't lost at all. I was like, oh, cool. This is, part 2. So I've been excited. Like, this just seems so fun to me. And we'll talk about it in a second. I was like, oh, I wonder what keyword there will be this time around. And they're like, oh, yeah, here, let's just have like 3 of them or whatever it was. Like, there's so much.
Well, speaking of keywords, let's talk about the one of the keywords that they dropped. We've got a new keyword on cards called tradable. And so the way it's been described is cards that have this keyword can be played like normal, so you can choose to just play the card, or for 1 mana, you can decide to shuffle this back into your deck, and it will be swapped with a different card.
So rad. Like,
Yeah.
Have you ever top deck a card? Like, when I build a deck, I ask myself, am I going to be happy top decking this card? And that's one of the things that helps me to decide whether or not I want to include it in my deck. And so this is like, hey, you draw a card and you don't want it, send it back, get a different one. Like, for 1 mana? Okay, I love it.
And what I like about the couple that they showed is they were more cheaper early game cards. And so, like, if I get something that's a 3 mana minion, like right off the bat, which we have this Rustroot Viper that's a 3 mana 3/4 beast. You know, if I want to play this on turn 3 as a minion to contest board, cool. If I top deck this when I'm really looking for something else, I'm going to throw her back and find what I want. So I think it's really neat.
Labore, what's your hot take on this mechanic?
So if you throw back it on 3, you get a 4-cost card to your hand, like a random 4-cost card. Is that how it works? Or...
No, you just get a different one. It's like you toss this back. A different card. Yeah, so you toss this back into your deck shuffles, you then draw a different card. So like you won't draw this one, I believe, but you would draw a different card. So it's not the next cost up. It's just a send it back, get a different one.
I don't know if you could throw it back on 3 because it says it costs a mana to throw it back.
Well, you draw it, so it doesn't matter. You have to pay 1 mana to send it back. And
so if it's turn 3,
it doesn't matter.
You're only paying 1 mana. You're not paying 4. You're only paying 1 because you're not playing the card. You're trading.
Yeah.
Oh! I totally. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah. Well,
I'm like, wow, that's expensive to throw it back.
It sounds really good it sounds really good in like Reno decks, maybe if you're looking for a particular card, or like Ice Fishing and Reno Shaman, or like a particular disruption. Definitely like if getting the exact copy of the card you need. But also maybe combo decks. If you miss a certain part of your combo where you need a certain defensive card, just tradabling it for something like that has a lot of potential. But definitely like playing on curve, and then you draw, let's say, a 1-cost card on like turn 5, turn 6, whatever, and you've already played out your hand in an aggro deck. Maybe it'd be good to like tradable and play something better. Definitely a lot of potential for this card, and just making sure you always spend your mana's worth or get the card you want.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you, like, if the card's bad, like, I'm not going to stick it in my deck whether it has tradable or not, but I love, like, this Viper is a neat idea, right? It's basically an ooze, right? So I destroy my opponent's weapon, and so if I draw this and my opponent doesn't have their weapon, say I'm playing an Odd Warrior, they don't have their Bulwark yet, like, okay, I don't need this right now, send it back, and like, I want it later. You know, I mean, you don't really get to control when you draw it. I mean, we have not seen barely any of the cards yet, so maybe we'll see something that says draw a tradable card. I don't know. But it's kind of cool. Like, just the basic idea of you draw this card, you don't want it, ship it back. That's great. I'm going to take a mulligan, please.
The versatility that it gives is really clutch, on top of being, decent cards you'd run in your deck anyway.
I think it's kind of interesting how, like, Sphere is a recent card in Hearthstone, a Fear of Sapience, I think it's called.
Yep.
And now they're introducing it as a mechanic. Like, I feel like that could have been kind of like the introduction to this, and now tradable is like a mechanic on its own now.
Interesting.
That's kind of interesting.
Redraw, choosing exactly what you want, kind of determining what card you need as a skill added to Hearthstone, kind of. Like, is this an acceptable draw, or do you need a better draw as a kind of a new mechanic, getting to choose and not getting unlucky in your top deck or whatever, getting another shot at it.
I love it.
Well, it's a lot better than I originally thought, that you only pay the 1 mana to put it. So you had to play it, and then you got like a choose one, keep it or throw it back for a single mana. I'm like, oh boy.
Well, Goliath in chat, I think, brought up a good point. One of the things, and again, I have not played almost any WoW, but one of the things that Stormwind, I guess, is known for is their auction house, right? And so this is the idea, like, trade it. They mentioned it in the reveal stream a little bit, talking about some, Stormwind and what there is to do there, and food was a big one, and the auction house was a big one, And so I think that's kind of where this idea comes through, is like, hey, you don't want this card, trade it. And so that's kind of fun. I think this mechanic being new, everyone immediately had all of these questions, right? And so Celestalon, being the gentleman that he is, answered a whole mess of them. And so I think for those of us who are like plugged into Twitter, got to read them all. I screen capped a handful of them to share with everybody here, just in case people were interested, because I think a lot of people may have these same questions. So if you guys are cool with it, I kind of wanted to just jam through them, because I think they were great questions and great answers.
Gipper, for sure. Obviously, I did not understand the card at first, so
yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna read them through. So first off, he says, I've seen a lot of love for the new tradable keyword. The short description of it is, drag this into your deck to spend 1 mana and draw a new card. For those of you who love thinking about the nitty-gritty details, trading does not count as playing a card. You draw the top card of your deck. It counts as a draw like normal. After drawing, the tradable card is then shuffled into your deck. And then he noted that it does keep any enchantments, unlike normal. And so we'll get into this in a second, but this is really pretty interesting. Okay, so next up, question from Samuel Ree. Could you elaborate on the last point? Is the tradable card out of your hand before you draw the new card and then the deck is shuffled, or do you draw a new card and then shuffle the tradable card into your deck? He says visually they happen at the same time, but mechanically they happen, as I mentioned before. And so what he's saying is the card that you're trading back, like, you draw a new card first, and then this one gets shuffled into your deck, so that you're not going to draw the same card that you just sent back. He did say that, one minor clarification, you can trade while at 10 cards in hand. It doesn't burn the drawn card. Also, you can't trade if your deck is empty, which makes sense, right? Because what would you draw? Right. That's cool, though, that you don't burn a card. And it makes sense, right? If I've got 10 and I choose to send this back, then I would be down to 9, and I would draw one to get 10 again. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
The next question was from Ridiculous Hat. Is it correct to assume that the deck is reordered after the shuffle per usual? Yes. So that was, just like a Polkelt or a Psychic Scream, like if you're shuffling... Well, I'm sorry, like a Psychic Scream, right? If you shuffle stuff into your opponent's deck, it reorders. So this would disrupt a Polkelt, for example. Next question was from Mike Drum. What is the visual/history effect when your opponent trades a card? Do you get to know what it was? And the answer is yes. The tradable card is revealed to your opponent when you trade it. So that'll be interesting when you play against someone. You can see what they chose to shuffle back in. That's interesting.
But not what they got for it.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, and it sounds like it's also worthwhile if if it retains any enchantments, right? Like if the 3/4 basically acidic swamp ooze,
right?
If it was buffed, if it pulled a buff from a random thing, you'll see it because it's revealed. That's really interesting.
That is pretty interesting.
If Embiggen was played on it, it's still gonna have the same. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, next question is from Ulticon HS. Can the cost of trading be reduced, for example, with Generous Mummy? The answer is no. Trading always costs 1. The card's cost is irrelevant to the cost of trading. So, for example, you have an Emperor Thorison or whatever, reduces your whole hand. It still costs 1 to trade. Doesn't matter what the mana cost of the card is. Still costs 1 to trade. Next question is from Quill. Can tradable cards be traded again after already using them once? The answer is yes. So if you keep drawing it, you can keep trading it over and over. So I ship something back, and then later on I draw it again and I still don't want it, I can trade it again. So you can trade multiple times, which is kind of cool. Next question is from Alucard. So in a vacuum, if there's a tradable tribal card, like a beast that you can buff, like with Scavenger's Ingenuity, and then you can trade it back and repeat, can you also copy into multiple buff cards like with Dire Frenzy? And this is what Sheep, I think, was just talking about. And the answer is yes. Yes, this would work. Scavenger's Ingenuity into Restaurant Viper, buffing it, trade Restaurant Viper, Scavenger's Ingenuity into that same Restaurant Viper, buffing it twice. So yes, there will be some shenanigans that you will be able to do. So like buff your stuff, send it back, redraw it, buff it again, whatever. But the neat thing is it retains the buffs, where I think normal cards don't. Like you ship something back, it loses. Like for example with mechs, right? If you magnetize something and it gets shuffled back into your deck, it's gonna turn back to the original version, right? Not the magnetized version. So this is different, that it keeps the buff, so that's kind of fun. Let's see, next question. And this has to do with one of our new cards that got revealed, Dark Bishop Benedictus, who says, start of game, this is a priest legendary, 5 mana, 5/6. Start of game, if the spells in your deck are all shadow, enter shadow form. So priest right off the bat can be shadow form instead of healing, which is kind of rad.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Right. Vapad. God, I can't. I'm sorry, mispronouncing your name. I love you. From the People's Champ podcast was asking, hey, how does this work with Baku? And the answer, unfortunately, is it does not work with Baku, because Baku only affects basic hero powers. Benedictus replaces whatever is there with shadow form, so it doesn't matter. Like if you have Baku, you're still gonna have your shadow form, which is your 2 mana deal 2 damage. So oh well. But there's that.
I still think that card looks pretty sweet.
The card looks dope. It's just fun, right? I think that's cool. There was a couple other Q&A, but not until we get to the next new mechanics. So let me toss it back to Hydra. Unless, do you guys want to chat about this mechanic at all?
No, those were all really good clarifications.
The questions were really good questions, right?
Yeah.
I thought they were great. The mechanic sounds so fun to me. I can't tell you how many times I've top decked something and not wanted it. So the idea that you could ship it back is cool.
And it's so cheap to ship it back too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, well, the next cool thing that they've added is something similar to what we had before. This is quest lines. And so all 10 classes will have quest lines that highlight the journey of that class's mercenary school through Stormwind. That class's mercenary through Stormwind. So basically, these are legendary spells like the old quests that we had before that start in your hand, except for they have 3 tiers of progression instead of just one major goal. So you get to complete each one as you go, and you get smaller goals as you go, and then in the end, you get one powerful legendary mercenary minion. So all 10 classes get these, and they gave us an example, and we have the first one here, which is called the Demon's Seed. So my image is way too small to read it, so Nate, can you read it?
I can read it. So yeah, these start in your opening hand. It's a 1 mana legendary spell. So this says quest line, take 6 damage on your turns. The reward it says lifesteal, deal 3 damage to the enemy hero. And so yeah, one of the neat things about these is they're all 3-phased quests, I suppose, but there's a mini reward whenever you complete a phase of the quest. And so it's cool that it's not like, okay, I did the thing and now I go on to the next phase without a reward. So this is cool. Hey, I take 6 damage, lifesteal, deal 3 damage to the enemy hero. The next phase of this one is called Establish the Link. And so the quest line is take 7 damage on your turns, reward lifesteal, deal 3 damage to the enemy hero. So it's like the same as the first one. And then the next part is called complete the ritual quest line. Take 8 damage on your turns, reward Blightborn Tamsin, which is the legendary minion who reads, this is a 5-mana 7/7 battle cry. For the rest of the game, damage you take on your turn damages your opponent instead, which
So cool.
is so rad.
I love it.
The tricky part is like the idea of this is so cool, and I think they revealed the mage one as well for Varden, which looked pretty cool. Although I don't remember what it was off the top of my head. I remember what the first part of it was, but not what the rewards were. But there immediately was a question on this one, right? Because this says part 1 is take 6 damage on your turn. Part 2 is take 7 damage on your turn. Part 3 is take 8 damage on your turn. And so the question is like, does this stack, or is this 6, then 7, then 8 separately? And so our good buddy Ridiculous Hat asked the question, hey, does Demon Seed carry over damage from phase to phase, or does it reset to 0 each time no matter what? Alec Dawson responded that there's no carryover. So this is separate damage. If we do the math real quick, 6 plus 7 plus 8 is 21 damage. So you're almost going to have to play some kind of lifesteal cards in your deck if you don't want to die. I saw some debate on Discord over the past couple days as to whether or not this was good enough to go in Dark Clair, and all my 11-star buddies say the answer is no, because it's just too slow, and you'd rather win the game with a board full of giants than you would trying to do some funky damage shenanigans. That being said, I think it seems like a really awesome card, and I'm sure there will be probably a way to break the game with it. There was one other question. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'll get to that later. But yeah, so there was, they revealed 2 of these legendary quests so far, the Warlock one and the Mage one for Varden. Yeah, from what I remember, the first part of the quest was play an Arcane, a Frost, and a Fire spell to proc the first. I don't know what the other 2 phases were, but I recall, I think Goliath in the chat is saying that the reward for completing all of them, Dawn Grasp says, give your minion for the rest of the game, or sorry, give your hero bonus spell damage. I think spell damage plus 3 for the rest of the game, which also seems pretty rad. So anytime we get these
payoff,
right? Anytime we get anything that says for the rest of the game blank, like it doesn't happen very often, but it's usually really good. I mean, the only examples that I really know of are like Raza, which of course is bananas. The other one that we got recently was Lothraxion, like for the rest of the game. Your Silverhand recruits have Divine Shield, and that has been great. It's now a staple in Odd Paladin, so we'll see. I mean, I'm excited
Let's not forget about the original Quest Rogue.
right. Well, no, that's true. Yeah. That's true. For the rest of the game, your minions are 4/4s. So, or is it 5/5 now? Huh?
Yeah, it's back to 5/5.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's been changed so many times. So yeah, we'll see. I'm excited to see that there's one of these for all 10 classes. It works really well with the theme of, hey, there's a separate storyline for each mercenary, and we're going to explore what each mercenary is doing in Stormwind. So thematically, like story-wise, lore-wise, whatever you want to call it, like it's such a really fun idea. Whether they're good or not remains to be seen, but it's got so much flavor, right? So
oh yeah, at least even if they aren't good, at least they'll be fun.
I saw Labore over here posting tweets about how to break the Warlock quest already. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but I'm kind of excited to it. Labore, from an off-meta deck builder perspective, what is your hot take on what we've seen so far for these legendary quests?
Oh, so from just considering the Warlock one, I mean, doing 21 to yourself is going to be really hard. Like doing 6, doing 7, doing 8. The best way to do that is probably Crystallizer. The
Yeah.
3 mana 5/5. Every time you play a minion, take 5. You just play Armor Vendor, and if you play Crystallizer, right, you're actually like it's working. I don't know if you would take the damage first and then get the armor from Armor Vendor, but those are ways to very easily complete like the first couple of tiers. But in terms of like profiting, assuming we can build a deck good enough to go ahead and profit from completing that, just a couple profit ideas like running Cold Light Oracle and Warlock just to literally go to fatigue with like Backfire, literally fatigue yourself, draw really quickly, just run Defile, Dark Skies. The 2 mana deal 3 lifesteal, like they have so much insane removal. Just making it through your deck, drawing maximum cards, and dealing damage to yourself while healing. With Armor Vendor, Crystallizer, like doing damage but not really taking it to complete it. You can also play Niru, like go through your deck, maybe drop a Doomsayer and then play Niru, and your entire board will be full. You can just drop one of the 3 mana 5/5. Whenever you, at the end of your turn, summon all the imps, you can just drop one of those and it'll do like, 5 for each. 5 times like 6 or 5 times 5 or something, like 25 or 30 damage right away. That's not even with fatigue. Like there's definitely a lot of things you can do I'm excited about.
Yeah. It should be fun.
New tools just to have fun. I love it. And
Speaking of new tools,
yeah, the next thing that was announced is we have new card types called profession tools. So profession tools are weapons that have special effects instead of attack values. So after you complete each of these conditions, you get a reward. So kind of like the priest weapon, dragon. You remember the dragon one?
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Soul?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, similar to that. So we got 2 shown to us here. We've got a Warlock one that is Ruined Mithril Rod. It's a 3 mana 0/2 profession tool that reads, after you draw 4 cards, reduce the cost of cards in your hand by 1. And lose 1 durability. So like an Emperor, Thorsa, and Tick.
How is this not like legendary weapon? This seems so busted to me. I mean, I could be wrong, but like anytime I see reduce your entire hand by 1, like, dude, how easy is it to draw 4 cards with Warlock? I could think of 100 ways right off the top of my head. Like, this is crazy.
And since it's not legendary, you can run 2 of these, right?
I mean, the question is, what do you take out of your deck to stick this in? But like, the reduction is so valuable. This is bananas. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I'm just thinking about this card in Dark Glare. Like you played on 3, then you play Backfire, Cabal, or Tour Guide, or you already played those and you raised at it and you get it again. Like, interesting.
Right.
Absurd in the best possible way.
I mean, you pay 3 mana for it, so that's 1 turn when you're potentially doing nothing. But like,
that's fair.
I don't know. The Paladin weapon seems pretty good as well, actually.
Yeah. So the Paladin one is Prismatic Jewel Kit, which is a 1 mana, 3 durability. After a friendly minion loses Divine Shield, give minions in your hand +1/+1, lose 1 durability. Wow. So, yeah. So you can do this 3 times in a hand buff, style deck. Labore, what do you think about this one?
I mean, you just mentioned Lithraxian, like right away. If you just draw one of these, it's crazy.
And it's only 1 mana.
It is an odd cost, right? I mean, you have to kind of build around it. But so like maybe we're putting Steward of Darkshire back in our odd Paladin. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, we might be.
I mean, but like, this, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, at 1 cost, it feels more doable. Like 3 you have to pay. Like that's a serious choice because the 3 is a lot, right? I mean, maybe it's an easy slot into like Reno Lock or something. The others, I don't know. But at 1 mana, like that doesn't seem that bad. I don't know if it's good enough or not. I imagine we'll probably see people saying it's not good enough. We'll see some people saying it's busted and probably everything in between. But I would build Odd Paladin a little bit differently and just jam this in and see what happens.
And it'll be fun to play around with at the very least, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm kind of imagining a world with like Crystal Lion, the 6 mana 5/5 Paladin. If it costs 1 less for each silver hand recruit you have.
Oh
yeah, like that thing, getting a free Divine Shield minion, like I don't know, something with that, and getting a lot of dudes like Dude Paladin, and really utilizing the hand buff stuff from it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could just create a more Divine Shield centric version of Dude Paladin, and then you don't know which one you're going to be going up against.
Could be.
True.
Yeah, I like it. Excited to see what the other classes get as well. Did they mention if each class was going to get one of these?
They didn't. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I don't think so, because they brought this up at the same time as the next mechanic, which is mounts. And what they showed us is like, hey, here's a couple weapons and here's a couple mounts. And so my guess is, and I could be totally wrong, my guess is that some classes will get the weapons and the others will get the mounts, but who knows? I mean, until we start seeing some card reveals, I don't know.
That's a good guess, because with the quest lines, they specifically mentioned that all 10 classes are getting these.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they moved into these, they didn't use that terminology. So
yeah, they kind of, I think on the announcement, they dropped them like together and said, oh yeah, by the way, and then here's these weapons and mounts. And I mean, who knows? We could speculate. I'll pull up the thing, but yeah, it says mounts and professional tools, and they lumped them in together. So I don't know.
yeah. Well, speaking of mounts are spells which come into play in the form of a minion buff, and then they summon the trusty steed. That's a good word. Itself. once the empowered minion is defeated. So like a Spike Ridge steed, right? So we've got a couple examples here. We've got a priest one, which is the Elec mount, which is a 7 mana mount that reads, give a minion +4/+7 and taunt. When it dies, summon an Elec. So I would assume then you get a 4/7 Elec
with taunt
afterwards.
I believe it's
with taunt.
I'm
like
pretty
Spike,
sure.
like
Yeah,
just like Spike Ridge.
Here's the effect that it adds.
Yeah.
I thought it would give a 3/4 at first, just because all the Alex we know are 3/4s, but that makes a lot more sense. Getting a 4/7 with taunt, that's crazy.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it said, I think that's what's really interesting is that the steed that you get when the minion dies mirrors the effect of the spell, and so your minion now is a 4/7 taunt. The other one we saw is Ramming Mount, is this hunter card, 3 mana, give a minion +2/+2 and immune when attacking. When it dies, summon a ram, and then it's a 2/2 ram that's immune when attacking. And it's like, oh, like that seems pretty good. Like I like that a lot, actually. I don't know where the heck I will play it, but dude, it seems pretty good.
I mean, if they end up being as good as Spike Ridge Steed was at the time, they'll see play.
Oh yeah,
because Steed was all over the place. I love that card.
Yeah, it was good. I'm excited to see. Like, a lot of times they'll announce one of these expansions and they'll release some of the mechanics, and I'll think to myself like this is kind of crappy. And so far I've seen all these things. I'm like, there's some potential here. Like, it's that Vince
like
McMahon
all 3 of them too.
yeah, right. All 3 of them look good. I feel like that Vince McMahon meme where it's like, oh, cool. Yeah, So, jeez. But yeah, these look pretty cool. I guess we'll see. I mean, do you guys have any thoughts on, like, I kind of doubt we're going to get 10 for each. What do you guys think?
I mean, I think it's possible that we get 10 for each. Like, I wouldn't have expected Priest to get a mount if it was kind of more class specific. It kind of makes sense, like with the Dragon Soul weapon that they had earlier, that they may end up getting a weapon, just kind of like Skull of the Minari. Warlock had that. Here they have Ruined Mithril Rod, right?
Yeah.
So just because of that, I'm thinking we may have one per class for all 10 classes of each of the three, but that's just speculation. What do y'all think?
So what I'm noticing here on the text, the priest mount, when it dies, summon an Elec, but like they both get taunt. I can see like kind of like a defensive, like staying alive theme there. And the hunter one, give it immune while attacking and like making a lot of trades. Like hunter has a lot of rush stuff right now. So just kind of like keeping, deciding which beast should die and which beast should live, or like buffing up a hyena or something. Like I could see Rogue getting one that says like, whenever this attacks, like buff your weapon 1/1, or like give a friendly minion stealth, or like, you can easily make a lot of thematic when it dies effects, and a lot of them are like stats oriented. So you get a lot of good stuff right away, and it kind of hedges towards the what you want from the class right away, but also when it dies. So yeah, I really hope that there's one for each class. That'd be really cool.
I hope so.
Yep. We'll see. We got a lot of cards to see soon.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, all in the next month, so that'll be cool. Next up, so we had a patch drop already just yesterday, Thursday, July 1st, and a few notable things that dropped in the patch is you can now already pre-purchase the new expansion. And so we've got the 80-pack mega bundle up first, that of course you get 80 United in Stormwind packs, you get 5 golden United in Stormwind packs, you get 2 random United in Stormwind legendary cards, Lady Katrana, if I butcher this, Goliath, let me know. Lady Katrana Prestor Mage, which is the alternate hero, and also the Lady Katrana Prestor card back. And we also have, if you're a BG's player, there is an alternate bartender for Bartender Bob.
Right? That's so cool.
Venari, I believe, is how it may be pronounced. So that's neat if you're getting sick of Bartender Bob telling you, you've got this.
You're way ahead.
Just a brief like lore tidbit is that Mage Heroes that's the human form of Onyxia.
Yeah,
the dragon.
Oh,
so that's
cool.
super cool. Yeah. So that's super cool. I imagine hopefully we can talk lore at a later date, but I think that's super cool. So
also one more thing was the Battlegrounds perks is like standard, comes with this as well. And this is the $79.99 USD bundle. You can also purchase for $49.99 the smaller bundle, which has 60 Stormwind packs, 2 random Stormwind legendary cards, and you can also get the card back for Lady Katrana Prestor as well.
nice.
I've already, as soon as this dropped, it was really funny. I didn't actually read it super closely, and I thought that Lady Katrana was the priest hero. And so as soon as I bought it instantly, I'm like, I gotta go turn this into my new cool priest hero. So favorited it, and then went and looked at my decks. I'm like, why do I still have Stabduin? I picked, and I'm like, oh, it's a mage one. Dang it, I already have 1 million. That's fine. I don't want to play mage. And then I queued my first game, and this is like minutes after the reveal stream, and my first opponent was playing it.
Wow.
Like instantly. And they did me the favor of emoting all throughout the emotes, which was great.
Hey, that's cool. That reminds me, something that we saw here is that she has a unique fireball, which doesn't happen very often. It's hard to see. I've got a little screenshot, but like the only time I've ever seen this before, I don't remember. It was either Medivh or Khadgar. It was one of those. Had like a separate.
Medivh.
Is it Medivh? Has a special.
Yeah.
A special fireball.
One, yeah.
That's cool. I love when they do that. Like that never happens. The only other one I can think of is Magni with the hammer hitting the shield, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arthas kind of has. No, it doesn't, does it? I was thinking, or is that just gold and paladin? They kind of sparkle when they show up.
I think when you hit the hero power, his sparkles a little bit or something.
I think it's the sparkle.
Yeah.
But it's so cool. It's so cool. I love this. Not that Mage needed like a 40th alternate hero art, but like it's cool. It's cool.
It's too early to give Rogue another one since the last time, so they're still waiting.
They've already done enough rogue skins to last us for the next several years.
Yeah.
That's great. Speaking of bundles, we've got a giveaway. I don't want to. We'll stay tuned to the end of the show, and we'll tell you a little bit more. But we there will be giveaways.
Multiple. I'm so excited for that.
We got some exciting news later.
So also in the patch, if you logged in right away after the reveal stream, you got a free legendary.
Woo-hoo.
And so we all got Flight Master Dungar. And this guy, he's awesome. He's got his aviators on. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, this guy's pretty cool. He's a 3-mana 3/3 neutral legendary that reads Battle Cry, choose a flight path and go dormant. Awaken with a bonus when you complete it. So they got 3 different options. The first one is Westfall. In 1 turn, summon a 2/2 adventurer with a random bonus effect. So you'll see a theme here. This one is a more aggressive one, and then the other ones take a few more turns. Mm-hmm. So the first one is you're dormant for 1 turn, then this happens. The next one is Ironforge, where it reads, in 3 turns, restore 10 health to your hero. And the third one is Eastern Plague Lands, that reads, in 5 turns, deal 12 damage, spread randomly across all enemies.
That seems kind of good. 5 turns is a lot of turns, but like that seems kind of fun.
I versed a Reno Luna's Pocket Galaxy mage that ran this like instantly, and they happened to, I think they must have Zola'd it because they played it twice. Oh, and wow. they did the 12 damage 2 times to me.
Oh, wow.
Because they picked the 12 damage both times. So and I lost. So lost to the new legendary right away. I mean, it was pretty cool. I like to see it go off, and it went off 2 times the first time I went against it.
Wow. Do you guys think that this is actually good, or is this just fun?
I think it's more fun than good, just because the your opponent can, hover over it and see what the effect is, mm-hmm. and like make an adventure. Okay, not bad. Heal for 10, not bad, but you have to have a minion that's just a 3/3 dormant for 3 turns to get there. It doesn't really help you if you're going to die before then. Right. And then the 12, not really AoE, but random damage assignment is really strong. It just takes 5 turns.
That's a lot of turns. I've been playing a lot of Pirate Warrior, and like that's the turn you want to win on. I mean,
yeah, right.
But
I just imagine a rogue list that could run like Spirit of the Shark and then like play this and always choose the deal 12 and just run like evasion and cloak and evasion and cloak and vanish, like Mill Rogue, but just Smork deal 12 instead. Like play a Vanish Doomsayer or something and it all goes face. I don't know. I'm a dreamer. That's
That
the
sounds
dream.
fun. I wonder how that works with like Bran and Spirit of the Shark. Like if it,
Maybe you
know.
could just get to choose twice the path, and then in
Right.
5 turns it'll do 24 instead of 12, maybe.
yeah,
Well,
that's
do
what how I'm hoping it works because that makes it actually like really even more fun.
There's a demon. Do you guys remember? I don't know what it's called. The Demon Hunter card that goes dormant and then does 10 when it wakes up.
Oh,
Is that the Antaean?
yeah,
Yes.
Imprison the Antaean.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it reminds me of that a little bit. How many turns was that though? I think it was only 3, right?
2?
I think it was
Must be
2.
I'm gonna.
And when it came out, it was originally it was a 5 mana too. It was like so busted.
Here it is.
Oh, yeah.
It's called Imprisoned Antean. It says 6 mana 10/6 dormant for 2 turns. When it awakens, deal 10, randomly split amongst all enemies. But it does that cost 6, and this guy only costs 3. But I just like 5 turns. My goodness.
Yeah.
That's just a lot of turns. But we'll see.
So I think it'll be a really fun card, and if you're playing for fun and not, to push for top legend, which I do that a lot, playing
Yeah.
for fun, why not throw this in there? Like you could have fun with it.
Wait, we're supposed to have fun when we play this game? Oh, I'm sorry. I forget that
11
sometimes.
times gamers here.
My prediction is that this will be the golden legendary on the rewards track, right? That's kind of what we've seen with the free legends, right?
Yeah, with Mancrick.
Like the Mancrick, yeah.
Except
What was
Mancrick
the-
was like so good that it got nerfed. So
Yeah, I'm thinking too though, like because we got something else for free, kind of like Vargoth or Vol'jin,
that's true.
as well. So it may not be. It may be that the free rewards track has the non-golden one, and then the paid has the golden one. I don't know.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
so if we already got this one, then it might be a different one on the rewards track.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, we'll see. Whatever, it's cool. I like free stuff. I mean, we've seen them do this a lot. Where hey, the expansion's coming in a month, but here's a new card. You can play it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a transfer student. Sometimes it's
Marin the Fox.
Marin the Fox. I was gonna say that pirate dude that gave you the treasure chest. Yeah. Marin the Fox.
Who ended up not being a pirate when we all
Right.
thought he was going to be a pirate.
Yeah, he so should have been.
Yeah, I agree. But
Well, let's move on. We also have another collectible coin that we can get, like the last few expansions. It's going to be collected once you get all 135 United and Stormwind cards, and you get the Lordaeron coin, which looks pretty shiny, to be honest. If you've got this one in a golden coin, I bet you it'll look pretty sassy.
oh, I bet it will. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they said there's gonna be one more as well that I guess you'll get from the rewards track. The paid rewards track, right? Or maybe it's just the
Yeah.
regular. I don't know. I don't recall. What's the one that we get right now? Because each set we've gotten 2, right? One's from the rewards track, and I don't remember if it was.
Yeah, I don't recall, to be honest.
Labore, do you do the paid rewards track?
No, I don't.
Did you get the extra coin?
I think so, yeah.
Maybe it's like when you hit level 50, you get the coin. Is it something like that, right? Jeez.
50 or 100 or something, yeah. I don't know where exactly.
Yeah,
Look at
it's
this.
one of the big milestones.
Yeah. Forgetting already. This is so brand new too, and we forgot it. But yeah.
Anyways, we did get an example of the artwork for the new packs, which is super cool. The artist name is Tiffany Chiu. I'm probably mispronouncing that. But it looks cool. She's got a link on her ArtStation which shows the designs that she went through to create the packs. And one thing that I thought was super interesting, somebody brought it up on Twitter earlier, was that this, I think, is the first pack that we've ever seen that doesn't have that Hearthstone swirl on it. It's got this lion instead. And you can see in the pack designs, like we saw that there's the swirl there, but they ended up not going with it. We've got the lion instead, which is kind of interesting. It doesn't, not that it means anything, it's just kind of cool.
Yeah.
So
It's got like the swirl, but it's like it's a stamp on it rather than being like the
I
big
see
thing
it.
that you crack open, you know?
I see it. It's there in the upper left corner. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just kind of small. Yeah, okay. It looks so cool though. Like it's tied together. It's got the ropes. Like the animation of the pack opening. I cannot wait to see it. It's gonna look cool.
I hope the lion comes and tries to like eat your face.
I hope that it like roars or something. That'd be so
Yeah,
cool.
I was just thinking the roar too.
Like opens its mouth and shows its teeth or something. Like,
Yeah. That'd be so great.
And the golden one looks awesome too. It like filled in a lot of the little like filigree areas that the base one has with gold. Like they did a really good job of kind of tying that together.
Nice.
I'm a big fan of the whole thing.
Well,
Yeah.
up next, we have the return of the Fire Festival. And this is happening super soon, July 6th, so just 4 days from now. The Fire Festival will begin, and it is going to last until July 27th. And so the Fire Festival will be, for those 3 weeks, there will be 7 legendary quests that you can complete. The first 6 of them will reward you with a Year of the Phoenix pack, and the 7th legendary quest will reward you with the new Druid of the Flame Malfurion hero skin.
Dude,
This thing looks dope.
wow.
it's so good. It looks like Fandral. I love
It
it.
kind of does.
I love it. There's the flavor text. The flavor text talks about Fandral, which is fun. The fire ones look so rad. I'm never going to change out of them ever. They're so great.
I wish they changed the little hero power on him there. It's got like the regular colored one. It's like just blue.
Lame.
Do you see that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of sad. If they would do that, if they would go and like retroactively do that, some of them it makes sense to keep the same, but some of them, like Horseman Uther, like do something cool. Put I don't know, something different, like a headless like
Headless
little
Silverhand
silver hand recruit or something. I don't know.
Headless Silverhand recruit.
I don't know, but anyways, but this is the other thing that's crazy is we get this for free. Like normally my wallet was like crying, we got all this and it's like all this new stuff is coming out. I'm like, oh God, how much is this going to cost? And this is free. So 7 legendary quests. So we get the first 6 one are free packs and 7th one is this hero skin. Like, yes, please.
Cool.
Yeah. And a good one too. Like, this is so great. When we got the Fire Rexar one a while back, I don't even remember how we got it anymore. I've never switched.
Rewards track.
Yeah, level 50, I believe, on the rewards track.
Yes, you're correct. Thank you. I'm glad that
That one I remember.
I'm glad that you young folks have better memory than me. Yeah, I've never changed out of that one. I've really enjoyed it, and so this will be like my permanent druid skin until something better comes along. But like, this is so cool.
Speaking of Fire Rexar and this fiery looking Malfurion, there is a new bundle called the Eternal Flame Bundle. We do not know how much it costs yet, but it comes with 3 hero skins and a new card back. The hero skins are Shaman, Paladin, and Hunter. And if you take a look at these are all the fiery theme for all of these classes. And the card back looks absolutely amazing.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I thought I had sworn off Shaman after hitting 1K, but like Ragnaros Shaman, it's the greatest. Like, that's my favorite, like hero villain card, whatever, like of all time. I love Ragnaros. Like, he's just so great, and so I might have to start playing Shaman again. I just can't wait to see, or to hear rather, what his emotes are. They better be just amazing. If I don't
bet
get
they're
it,
gonna be hot.
all right. Question for everybody: why in the world did we get a Fire Rexar when we already have Fire Rexar? Not that not that I'm sad about having 2 Fire Rexars, but like, couldn't we get Fire Valera instead? Like, just
Fire Warlock or something, yeah.
dude. I hope when they posted this, I think whoever was doing production at the time tweeted like, "Oh yeah, I was responsible for this." And I was like, number 1, these are the greatest things ever. So great work. Number 2, can we get them for the other 7 classes, please? They're so cool. I don't know. I love them. They're so great. I don't have anything else to say. I just really like them. What do you guys think? Any hot takes?
Hot takes.
Hot takes. Blizzard, take my money, I guess.
Yeah.
But these look incredible. The only ones that I probably won't run is the new, like, Rexar, just because there's already a really cool fiery one. But I mean, that rag looks incredible.
Even the Uther, like, man, it's cool. Sometimes we get the artwork and it's like a little bit goofy, or a little cartoony or whatever, and these are like they remind me of like MTG cards, where they're all like, these are rad. These are legit super good.
The Rexar one actually kind of reminds me of the reward track other Rexar one that looks a little goofy, but they just added a bunch of fire to it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I haven't seen it that close up. It was kind of small.
Yeah, it's very small art, but that's the one it kind of reminds me of. The one that looks not the best, but then like, oh, let's just make it super fiery. Now it's better. Betterer. I like it. I'm all about the cosmetics myself.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. Well, we've got more content as well, right? So as if this so we're looking at timeline wise, right? This starts on the 6th. And so I'm not sure. Did they say when how often are we getting legendary quests? Is it one a day or is it one a week? No, this only lasts 3 weeks, right?
It says there's 7 that you get and this lasts for 3 weeks. So I don't know if it's going to be as soon as you complete one, the next one drops, if you can just bang through it, or if you're going to have to wait a full week.
I wonder if it's one. It's probably one a day would be my guess. Because
how they've done the legendary quest previously, it has just been like you complete one and then they just kind of give you the next kind of line. With how long this is and how big the reward is, it makes sense for there to be kind of a cooldown period, but if they're being consistent with previous, which they're breaking from norms lately, so maybe not, then you can just like knock it out pretty quick.
Yeah. I mean, originally I thought one a week, but like it's only 3 weeks. So I don't know. It's for 7, you got to be able to do them pretty quick.
I guess the problem with one a day is if you didn't start it till you had like 2 days left.
Oh, you wouldn't get it.
You wouldn't be able to do it. So I don't know. Maybe they'll just drop them. Maybe if you start from the very beginning, you'll get one a day, but they can sort of add up. So say you start on day 8, you could just do all 7 on day 8.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? One goes away, then the rest come in.
Yeah. Well,
time will tell.
Whatever. They're so cool. I really love these ones. Some of them I could care less. I mean, like I'll buy them anyways, but these are so cool. I'm really excited. So this is July 6th. This starts, and then 1 week later, more content. Right. So let's see here. Book of Mercenaries. Kurt
Russ
comes
out.
Like
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell. I love it. I've always just called him Kurt Russell. That's great. So Book of Mercenaries, Kurtrus comes out the week after on July 13. It looks like more story mode. They've been kind of collaborative storylines of the different mercenaries coming together. And so it looks like the Demon Hunter is going to get together with the paladin to potentially fight the warlock. I guess we'll see. There's really no spoilers yet, but that's kind of what they made it sound like. So that's exciting. It should be fun. And then one more Book of Heroes coming out the following week. So July 20th, one week later, we get Book of Heroes Gul'dan. They did confirm that they didn't set the price point, but they've all been $10, so I assume it's the same. A bundle with this portrait of, what do they call him, Shadow Moon Gul'dan with 5 packs for $10, I think. And so, hey, more Warlock portraits. That's cool. This is such classic WoW with these giant shoulder pads, right?
Yeah. we gotta be getting our random hero skin option soon. They're dropping so many of these, it's ridiculous.
Right? Yeah. If I had to pick, I'm always going to pick one. It's going to be one of these fire ones, or it's going to be like N'Zoth or whatever. I would love a random one so that I could use all of these. They've put out more skins this year than they have in the last 5. So this is super cool.
It's a great time to actually be playing Hearthstone right now.
Right?
It's wild how much just content with single player content and, the different skins and card backs.
It's just oozing.
I just can't even. It's awesome.
Yeah, and then one thing that was not included in the show notes, but I'll mention just for 2 seconds, is that they started doing cosmetics for Battlegrounds as well. So not only can you get the alternate, whatever is called bartender with this pre-order, but then you're gonna get Tiki Ragnaros as a bartender for BGs, which has got to be the greatest thing ever. Okay, you could charge $100 for it. Yes, please.
That may be a bit excessive.
I'm joking, but I would much rather. I'm getting a little bit tired of hearing don't tell the others, but I'm rooting for you. I just want to hear him say die insect or win insect or something
insect,
right? It's gonna be so great. And then alternate hero art for a bunch of the other Battlegrounds characters. So that will be fun. Just fun. It's pool party themed, which is so goofy. I love it. It's
as Ari Morn says, "You suck, insect."
I would love it if Bob is so nice, he's so encouraging. It would be great if he just ragged on you, right? You just harped on you, you're doing off. I can't believe you picked that card. You were, I don't know. It'd be so funny. I don't even care. It's gonna be great.
I'm just surprised that they haven't rolled out Bartendotron yet, because that was inherent in the bartender Bob. They came out at the same time, and all this, sometimes it would be one or the other. Yeah. I imagine we'll get that before too long too, though.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What's the thing that Bob says when you pick a minion that it makes you second guess what you've picked? He's like, that's okay. What? There's one he says that makes you think oh, did I just pick the wrong minion?
He says something that's not what I would have chosen, but good luck with that, or something he's.
PG players will know, but I'll pick some crappy Murloc or something, and he's like. Bro, was that a bad choice?
Oh,
oops.
Just too nice to call you out outright anyway.
yeah. So up next, we had Nozdormu Day's been around for a little while now, and if you notice when you play and you're trying to match up with somebody else who's running Nozdormu the Timeless in their deck, it's going to take a while to get a game against somebody else. And our good buddy Wildcard said he literally played a deck with Nozdormu in it for 2 months straight and only once ever queued into somebody else. So now they're putting it in as a daily quest on the 15th of the month. So nice. On the 15th of each month, you'll get a quest to run this in your deck, and it will now be incentive for people to actually do this and participate and have a good time with Nozdormu.
I like it. I think that's what I said last time we were talking about this. Like, the only way people are going to play this is if you incentivize it. So.
Yeah.
And let me say, it's pretty fun and intense when you guys do run this, because Swaguar and myself did our listener series matches with Nosdormu in it, and it made everything. I mean, I lost, but it made everything like crazy and fun, and it's just a good time if it's something that you want to opt into. And maybe, I don't know if they're going to make you be able to mulligan this quest away or not. I'm not sure if it's going to be something you kind of have to do.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder because you can toss a quest right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, they'll probably let you. That'd be pretty funny if they forced you to keep it.
Yeah. I don't wanna. I would imagine how I would kind of roll it out is it's a legendary quest. So like A, it would be worth a little bit more, but B, you also can't really re-roll it, so you're not really incentivized to do that. But we'll see how it gets implemented.
Oh man, they should
play Speed Hearthstone on ladder one day.
You know what? If they should give us a pack or something like a Tavern Brawl, like that'd be totally worth it.
Yeah, if it's for a pack, that would be awesome. I agree. Well, we've got one last thing in the news, and this is a Wild tournament. We have the East versus West tournament. Nate, do you want to tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, so I think I called it the wrong thing. They have it listed here as West versus China, but essentially it's NA versus China, top 16 versus top 16 players. This is not something that people are going to be, tournament in the sense that people are going to be able to play in it. This was based on like top 16 ladder finishes. But if you're looking to watch, like these matches are going to be streamed. So if you're looking to watch some like top tier Wild content, like this is going to be really incredible. So this tournament is happening July 3rd and 4th for groups 1 and 2. And then it looks like a week later, July 10th and 11th for the top 4 through 8, and the finals would be the next day. The cool thing is we know a bunch of people that are playing in this, so I didn't recognize all of the names, but the ones that I did from NA, like Goku, we've had on the show Hazer, 6J, Lasagna, Absolute, NHL Fan, Seth for Christ, Bat Maisel, amongst others, are going to be competing. There's some others that I don't recognize, but I'm sure are great players. And I have a hard time reading this because it's really small and it's a weird font. But this is going to be great, I think, to watch. It's going to be on the Team Wildside Twitch channel. So it's twitch.tv/Team Wildside. I believe that's Reno Jackson's group. And this should be pretty crazy. So starting tomorrow and the following day, and then again next week for the finals. So yeah, if you guys are looking to watch some like top tier Wild competitive Hearthstone, this should be a lot of fun. Labore, do you have any thoughts on this?
I feel like I've seen like a couple of hours of one of the last times that they did it, and I really enjoyed seeing some of those games. I remember like Secret Mage versus Kingsbane, and one of them was like LPG versus Odd Warrior. There was a couple interesting matchups to see like some of the better Wild players play it. But I really enjoy like seeing different people in the community like commentate, I think is the word, commentate the games, and just other people will be in Twitch chat as well, like high ranked players or just people that enjoy Wild mode. So as far as like live viewing it or watching it, pretty fun overall, and I'm happy that we have some sort of tournament, high level player games.
I think it's one thing when we stream matches and stuff. I think I really got a taste for it last week when we streamed Corbett versus Maxibon, and watching two players of that caliber was like, they were making these big brain plays and hand reading and stuff that like they were just over my head. There were plays that I did not see coming, and I'm like, why are they doing that? And it was really eye-opening. And so I am now sort of invested in watching, like, let me see some more of that. So I don't know. Should be fun. Should be fun. I hope that in the event that I'm not able to watch it live, I'm hoping that they'll keep the VODs or post it on YouTube or something. I guess we'll see. Anyways, yeah, it should be kind of fun. Should be kind of fun. So, if you're looking for high level competitive Hearthstone, Wild Hearthstone, definitely check that out. Again, it's twitch.tv/Team Wildside. It's going to be July 3rd and 4th for the preliminaries, and then July 10th and 11th for top 8 and finals. So, yeah. I kind of want to move right along because we still have a little ways to go. We did get a couple of new meta reports this week, particularly the Chinese meta report, which is always interesting to see because it's so different from the NA one. Pulling it up here real quick. They've got listed as tier 1 Darklair Warlock and Odd Paladin. I'm sorry. Well, at the very top they had Stealer Warlock, but that has already been banned and no longer playable. And then Darklair and Odd Paladin at a high tier 1, Kingsbane Rogue and Reno Priest as low tier 1, which sort of makes sense to me. The Kingsbane, like, that's not listed in ours as tier 1, but it's a really good deck. And then in tier 2, Secret Mage, Pillager Rogue, Shutterwalk Shaman, kind of at the high end, and then towards the low end, Cube Warlock, which I haven't seen in NA in ages, which is probably my favorite deck, Odd Rogue, Odd Demon Hunter, Scimitar Rogue, OTK Mage, Starliner Druid, and Inner Fire Priest. Like, okay. And then at the
Celestial Alignment Druid.
Oh, sorry, what did I say? Starliner, my bad. Yeah. I played so much of it back in the day. And then lower tier 2, Reno Warlock, Beast OTK Hunter, which I don't even know what that is, and Murloc Shaman. And then there's a link here. I'll post it in the chat and in the show notes if anyone wants to check this out. There's a whole gallery of all the deck lists on Imgur, and it's got the codes also if you guys want to copy. Any hot takes? I mean, I guess just my initial thought being that the meta report from China it looks very different than what we see over here. Let me start out with you, Labore. Any hot takes for you?
The first thing that catches my eye, and also something that I'm a little afraid of, is Pillager Rogue being above a lot of those decks in tier 2. That's a list that has a lot of potential. I've been killed by it on turn 4, turn 5, actually a lot of times. People are definitely going to learn how to play it, translate the Chinese guide for it to English. I've already seen a lot of people start translating it. There's literal spreadsheets of how to play it or your odds in certain scenarios, and people have already translated that to English. Wow. I'm definitely afraid of that list, and would see it get higher on the tier 2 scale. I don't know if it could be tier 1. Maybe a lucky Dirty Rat or an Ice Block or something is good enough to shut it down if it really gets meta. I think it's pretty favorable against Darklair. I actually think that list. I was playing Darklair. I don't think I beat that deck one time, but
wow,
we'll see. I'm afraid of that deck.
I agree. I'm afraid of it as well, and I also suck at it so far. Pillager Rogue. I spent some time trying to learn it, and it's not the most straightforward deck, for sure. But I'm looking forward to putting a lot more time into learning that deck. It's really cool.
Yeah, it also looks like that Beast OTK Hunter looks a lot like the Beast Hunter that Maxi Corbett brought in the finals of.
It looks almost identical, actually. Yeah, you're right.
Which is incredible.
Wow. Did you guys see? They run Stone Tusk Boar in their Darklair. I mean, I guess it makes sense because if you've got what is it, Tamsin Rome to you power overwhelming, you can hit for what is that 9 with charge.
Then Zephyrus Wind Fury at 10 mana. It's actually it goes from 1 to 5 to 9 to 13 to 17. It's a 17/17 times 2.
Holy moly, that's crazy. Yeah. Well,
and Zephyrus also gives you the flare popping against Mage. You just get flare to pop the block, so yeah.
That's clutch. I'd seen the not with Boar, but with the unnerved
Golem?
arcade golem. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that, but this is the first time I've seen it with Boar, and I think I really like that. That's really cool.
Yep,
Nice.
I like it.
Boar's a little. Boar can often be a little better in the mirror match too, because if they have a bunch of giants up, and instead of like having giants and rushing them in, you can just boar Tams and PO them, and they're dead because they drop themselves low. Like it's kind of interesting, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Is that why it was originally teched in, mostly for the mirror, you think?
The boar,
Yeah.
not sure, maybe.
Huh.
I know.
Yeah, their lists are different, but they're very innovative. And then we start to see them creep over here. And when you figure out like why they put, whatever it is in the list, it's like, oh. I think with any deck though, there's like what's core and what's flex, and there's going to be a few different flex cards.
I've noticed their Kingsbane has double Blade Flurry.
It's good against board-centric decks. I've been playing a lot of Pirate Warrior, and I got all excited. I was like, "Oh, Rogue, cool! I'll just smash face," and a well-timed Blade Flurry just ruins your day. So,
I just wish it went face still. Alas.
alas, yeah.
It just must be really good against the meta to have two in there for sure.
Right. So we got one other meta report from the Wild Hearthstone subreddit. It's a little questionable, and the decks are very good. The commentary or editorial, if you will, is something else. So I'll share the link if anyone wants to go through and read it. It is like the least PC thing I have ever read in ages, and so I feel a little tenuous recommending it, but it's there if you want to peruse it. Do you guys take a look at this at all?
I'm looking at it right now.
I've not read through it ahead of time. I did not know this existed, but I the way you describe it, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I'm not going to read it on the show, but you'll get a laugh or two for sure. It's just, but definitely some good decks. Looking here through the decks, Dark Glare Warlock, Reno Priest, Odd Paladin in tier 1. In tier 2, I've got a Secret Mage, Pirate Warrior, Mozaki Mage, Odd Rogue, Cute Warlock, Kingsbane Rogue, Big Priest, Galakron Shaman, and then in tier 3, it looks like I've got Discard Warlock, Murloc Shaman, Handbuff Paladin, Aggro Druid, Odd Warrior, Aggro Paladin, Reno Warlock, Odd Demon Hunter, LPG Mage, Malygos Druid, Reno Shaman, Even Hunter, Togwaggle Druid, and last but not least, Dead Man's Hand Warrior. So, I think that seems actually fairly accurate to me. It's all of the comments, and I was like, "Whoa, that's something." So,
Came across a few of them.
Right. Yeah. So, anyways, in switching gears a little bit in talking about what we've all been playing, for me, it's been Pirate Warrior. I have really been trying to jam out those Warrior wins. Like I was saying earlier, my goal for this month is to hit 1K with Warrior. I am right around 940, so I've got about 60 wins left for this month. And so I don't want to play long grindy games. I want to play fast games, and so Pirate Warrior is probably the best. This is what I used to get the 11x. Rokara is probably the best card in the deck. I've seen a couple of different versions. The only real difference, I think sometimes people will swap out Skycap and Crag for Leroy Jenkins. They feel pretty interchangeable to me. If you can go wide enough, you can play Skycap and Crag for really reduced mana, which is good. But the burst is not quite as good as Leroy, so there's a trade-off. Rokara is amazing. I was talking with Blue Train, who had been talking with, I think, NHL, and there was some discussion as to whether or not to put Town Crier in the deck just to tutor out Rokara, because Rokara is so good. Ultimately, I think we ended up not doing it, but there's an argument to be made for that. But yeah, I'm going to continue jamming this. I did see, I was scrolling through our Discord looking for other warrior decks that were maybe faster, and I did stumble across a Galakron warrior that looked really good. I'm not quite sure. It probably needs a little bit of an update, but I'm essentially going to be playing warrior for the rest of the month. It's not one of my favorite classes, but I do love the Deathwing hero, so I'm just going to keep jamming it. And yeah, that's about it for me. Unless, do you guys have any other recommendations for warrior decks to play? And if one of you guys says Dead Man's Hand, I'm just gonna like end the call right now. I love it. I joke, like, I'm in that Discord. I was shocked when I joined it at how many people there were in it, and it's, again, the rumor, right, is it has 100% win rate if you play it correctly, which is almost impossible to do. So I don't know. I'm warrior is like my least favorite class, or one of them rather. I've been having a lot of fun with Pirate Warrior. It's pretty strong, actually. But
only thing I'll say about it is, if you don't have Sky Captain Craig, there is basically zero reason to craft it unless you already have it. Because
100%, yes. Don't craft it.
I have, like, I run him in my NA version, and on EU and Asia, I just run Leroy, and there's no difference in win rate. Like, it's the exact same.
Nice.
So there's no point in crafting it. I don't recommend anybody do it unless, you just want to have all the cards. And Giver.
He's got some great voice lines, I will say that. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that's a good assessment. Are there other warrior decks that are good that I don't know? Labore, I would love to play some of that recruit warrior, but I'm wondering, do you have an updated version? Because I haven't seen it in a while.
I got a legend with the list last month.
Oh,
it wasn't really a quick legend. It wasn't like day 1, day 2 or anything. It was probably like, I don't know, halfway through the month. I finally played and got legend with it, if not that far. But yeah, my list this time around ran Rotface. It was a card that I opened up part of the way through the month, and I decided to slot it in there.
Rotface, is that the one when it takes damage, it generates a random legendary?
Yup, so you can give that thing commencement, and then your opponent will have to trade into it. It'll have Taunt and Divine Shield, and you'll guaranteed get minions.
That's rad. I love it. I love it. That's such a great card. All right, I'll get your list. Is it in your Discord?
Oh man, I can find it. I can find it real quick, but yeah, I'll find it.
Oh, how exciting!
Face is amazing.
That's fun. I would love someday to make like an OTK with like what is that cannon tower that lobs off cannonballs.
The Gunspire.
The Gunspire. Yeah. There's something there. I don't know that it's good enough.
You can also do Woe Cleaver and then pull out a Devil Soar and then play like Inner Rage and the 5-cost summon a copy of your damaged minions. You can get like a lot of Devil Soars, each with like 9 attack, or if you play the 2-cost card that's strengthening or conditioning or whatever, give it more and more stats. So do like 30 with that, or Grommash instead of Devil Soar.
Yeah,
it's been done before, yeah, but been a while since I tried it.
I like that. I kind of like the idea of playing an off-meta deck the first couple days of the month when everyone's tryharding. I'm like, cool, like, because then they expect your aggro, and like, let me play some recruit warrior. Like, okay, deal with that. Like, everybody's gonna they'll mulligan incorrectly and all of that. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
If you find it, I would love to try it. That sounds like a blast.
Yeah, I'm looking around for it.
Sheep, what have you been up to?
Yeah, so since we had the challenge to refine an even mage list, I've been playing a lot of even mage. Well, the challenge ended. I continued playing even mage. It's just been a lot of fun. So the one that I am featuring this go around was the one that I submitted for that. And it's great. I think today I played against 3 different Dark Glare Warlocks and went 3-0. It's just incredible.
Feels good.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely not what I would jam if I was like just trying to climb as quick as possible. But if we're, trying to play for fun, which is what I was doing, it's a great bring. So.
I mean, the goal was to refine this list, right? And we'll talk about that in a minute. But I mean, we've seen a bunch of versions that are all relatively similar. I think you and I built ours, kind of talked through them at the same time. And this is actually a pretty good version of it. Like, I don't think it gets a whole lot better than this. Some of these inclusions are pretty spicy. And if you've got like Starscryer was a great example. I hadn't thought of that initially, and there's so few spells in the deck that it's going to pull your Wildfire, and then all of a sudden, like, okay, my Reckless Apprentice is really good, and if I can stick a Caldara Drake, it's really good. So.
Oh yeah, well, and in the Dark Glare matchup in particular, it's actually the Ice Walker in conjunction with, of course, either Reckless Apprentice or the Spirit of the Dragon Hawk, or just general pings with the Drake or the Garrison Commander. That's what typically shuts them out of the game because, you've got this full board that is completely frozen.
Yeah. Well, this is fun. I mean, I've been wanting to play Varden in a good deck or a fun deck or whatever for a long time. And so this seems like a good reason to do it.
Completely agreed. Yeah, it's been a blast. And like I said, even after completing the challenge or finishing the challenge submission, I was playing this today.
Nice.
It's been so much fun.
Nice. What about you, Labore? You had mentioned some Dark Glare.
So what I like to do is I like to play a deck for like half a week to a week at a time, like kind of focusing on the deck just enough for a couple of days to where I get a good feel for it and then just kind of swap around decks. Like I said, I started with Tog. Started with Tog Druid with like a week left in the season maybe, and I really enjoyed that deck. And after I started getting hit by the Rats, the Lothobs, right after I alignment, well, they already have a really big board, and I just auto-concede, moved on to some Dark Glare and played that for like half a week, maybe closer to a week. That's basically what I've been up to. A little bit of decks on the side, like Mill Rogue, just decks that I've spent a half a week to a week before in the past, just trying those again.
Nice.
Yeah, keeping them fresh.
Fun. I like to do that too. I get stir crazy. So yeah, I feel you there. Hydra, what about you? What have you been playing?
So the idea yesterday on day 1 was to chill, put my feet up, watch some Netflix, and play some Big Priest to prey on maybe people just trying to aggro their way to the top, maybe, control their board, drop some taunts. It did not go well. Not at all, because I felt like people were getting under me, quite quickly, and Combo Druid, I was getting wrecked by Malagos Druid. It just did not seem to be a fit for the meta at all. My relaxing day of climbing by resurrecting things did not work at all. In fact, I played almost 40 games. I played 38 games at a sub 50% win rate. It was brutal.
Ooh.
It was brutal. And why did I keep playing it? I don't know. I thought maybe, they say don't switch decks. So that's what I was doing. But I will say the highlights of it were pretty funny. I did get I tied. I got a tie with a Malagos Druid who had gotten to the point where they had drawn through their entire deck and then got some Malagai on the board.
Malagese?
Block of them.
and decided to use dual ultimate infestations on my face. Now, I was at full health, and they had full health plus some armor. But it did not quite work out for them, as, yes, they did kill me, but they'd already emptied their entire deck, so they were in fatigue. And with the double ultimate infestation, they fatigued themselves and killed me at the exact same time.
Wow.
It was absolutely, like, you could see that I die, and then suddenly you just see the fatigue happening over and over and over again until they died as well. And then we both exploded, and it was absolutely glorious.
That's great. This is probably not what they were expecting. That's really funny.
Yeah, like I thought that there's like a small chance they did it for fun, but I'm guessing that's the lethal that they had in their hand, and they played it and didn't realize that they were going to die as well. And it was whoops. But it made me laugh. Like, I didn't lose any stars, didn't gain any. It was fine. And the other highlight, which actually I made a new friend, was somebody who killed me with a combo druid playing Aviana Kun, the Dark Moon Silas, and Major Domo Executus, and naturalized it. And so turned me into Ragnaros and killed me all in one turn.
Wow.
Oh. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I know, right? So I'm just playing slow Big Priest, and they did that to me, and I added them, and I'm sure they were expecting some sort of hate or whatever, but we made friends, and I got the deck list. And,
Oh, nice.
yeah.
It's hard to be mad when they pop off with something really cool.
I didn't see it coming. I'm like, okay, there's Aviana, there's Kun. What's happening next? Is this Malagos? What's happening? And then suddenly I see Major Domo, and I'm like, what? Silas, naturalized. Oh no! And then whatever spell that had to hit me in the face to just get rid of my 8 health, and it was absolutely glorious.
That's great.
So, long story short, I played Big Priest. It did not go well, and totally looking for something else to play.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'll let you guys know if I find the secret sauce, but
day one is unpredictable.
It truly is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I might just do a classic Hydra and grab the best aggro deck that I can find and just smash my way to the top.
Right.
Actually, it's been a while since Kingsbane has been something I played, and seeing that China list, I might give that a try.
Yeah, it looks pretty spicy. Nice. All right.
That'll be fun.
Well, let's get into our weekly challenge in terms of like recap of last week and then into this week's. Sheep, do you mind doing the honors there?
Yeah, absolutely. So our buddy Brian was our independent evaluator here. And Brian said, drum roll please, that Ben Hearthstone has won this one. So Brian liked Ben's list the most, and then decided between either Nate or me for honorable mention in that one. We'll get to that. That was just part of his breakdown.
I do want to give a giant shout out to Brian for participating even after he was, the week after the show, and he played all of the submissions on stream yesterday, which was so cool.
Yeah, it was incredible watching him like go through and like engaging with all the different decks. Like it was really an awesome experience too.
Yeah, 100%.
So some of the notable inclusions in Ben's list are like the Farwatch Post, of course the Star Scryer, Book of Specters, Wildfire combo, but he also includes one other spell, Potion of Illusion. So you can Potion of Illusion either Koldara Drake or Mordresh and just keep on pinging.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, Emperor Tharasan enables you to do some pretty broken things in there. So he included that and an Aluneth as well.
Spicy. Wow. Okay.
Wow.
That's cool.
I like that
Yeah.
because this is different than kind of like the collective brain trust put together. I like the take on it. How fun. Okay. The Potion of Illusion on a Mordresh sounds awesome.
It really does. So Ben also gave a few kind of tips, pointers, breakdowns of some of the inclusions. So of course, very few spells. So Star Scryer likely draws wildfires. Ice Walker can lock out Demon Hunter or weapon classes. Spirit of the Dragonhawk decimates token decks. Reckless Apprentice can freeze entire board in opponent's face if Ice Walker is on board.
Oh, snap. Yeah. Okay.
Which is incredible. If Koldara sticks a turn, you pretty much are winning that game. Emperor Tharasan can enable early Mordresh or allow a Potion of Illusion on Koldara Drake. Look to play draw and play Wildfires ASAP. And then Frost Giants get low cost quick. Each extra ping from Dragonhawk or Reckless Apprentice counts towards the cost reduction.
Ooh.
So it gets real cheap real quick.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I like that.
Yeah,
if you're
so it's
looking, if you're
really
looking
fun
for a fun deck to use that new Onyxia, whatever, hero portrait, there you go. Nice.
Absolutely. So Brian did also decide who the runner up was, and it was between Nate and me. And Nate, I'm sorry to break it to you,
It was not me.
it was not you. It was close though, because we had so much of the same core build.
Yeah.
Which we collaborated. Makes sense. Mine just had a little fewer tech cards. It was a little bit more towards my game plan rather than disrupting theirs. It's kind of the breakdown that Brian gave us. So thank you very much to Brian for continuing to gauge on that. And thank you to everyone who submitted lists, because this was a really fun challenge. Like, this is one of the most fun that I've had engaging with those in a while.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, 100%.
So that brings us to this week's challenge. And I'm going to kick it over to Nate for this one, because I think he'll be able to read some of the cards a little better than I can.
Yeah, so this is a little bit of a different challenge as well. Something that we had talked about a little bit earlier in the show, and Labore, I got the idea from him posting earlier in this week. So looking at this is all sort of a theoretical challenge this week. So looking at the new card that was just revealed on this past, well, I guess it was Thursday's reveal stream, looking at the legendary warlock spell, the Demon Seed, this one that we were talking about earlier in the show, where you deal a bunch of damage to yourself, you end up with the legendary minion Blightborn Tamsin that says Battlecry, for the rest of the game, damage you take on your turn damages your opponent instead. So the challenge for this week is to send us the best combo idea you have with the new Demon Seed Warlock quest, in terms of, like, how can you break the game? How can you break this card? What is the best? It doesn't necessarily need to be an OTK, but what is your game plan to turn this card into a viable deck? Am I explaining that well? It's a little bit funky. But I want to get everyone together and break the game with this card. So.
And if you come up with the best idea to break this card, you get some packs.
That's right. Yeah, you can crack some packs. So,
So unlike last week, you don't have to submit the whole deck. You don't have to theory craft a whole deck. You just have to submit, hey, here's what my game plan is and how I want to utilize and both go through the side quests, the quest line itself, and then take advantage of the reward at the end.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The other piece is, like, you can submit as many ideas as you want, but once somebody submits an idea, like you can't submit the same idea. It's done. So it's a little bit different. I think last week we kind of built on each other's decks a little bit, and towards the end we had a lot of decks that were really similar with a couple of notable inclusions. This is going to be different. Like somebody submits the idea, okay, that one's done. Pick something else. So yeah, we'll see. Labore had some spicy ideas, just saying. Yeah, you're welcome to submit them, by the way. So yeah, we'll see. So the question about how you can submit these, the best way is to be a member of our Discord. We do have a channel in the Discord called Challenge Submissions, or Weekly Challenges, I believe. And that is the channel to post these in. That's where we'll be looking for them. And it's just got to be done in time for next week's show, so that we can decide and get our winner selected before next week's show. So you've got about a week. A little bit different. I usually say, post your screenshots, post your replays and such, and that really isn't the case this time around. If you want to submit, you have to submit your kind of game plan. If you want to submit copies of cards or graphics or something, you're welcome to do that. I'm sure that would help as well. All right. Well, that is about it. Let's see here. Sort of transitioning out. Did want to say a big giant thank you to the patrons of our show, and of course Shokunin, who is the executive producer of our show. Before we wrap up too much further, speaking of Shokunin, he reached out earlier and very graciously donated a mega bundle to us to give away to you all. So that's super exciting. Mega bundle is the $80 value one that includes all of the stuff. It's got the portrait, it's got the card back, it's got the alternate bartender, it's got the packs, it's got the Battlegrounds rewards, it's got the golden legendaries and the golden packs, like all the stuff. So that's super duper awesome. Next week we will get into how these giveaways will work. But big giant thank you to Shokunin for being the executive producer of our show, and also for being sort of we jokingly would say the patron saint of Wild, which I love. It's just really exciting. And so stay tuned to next week's show for additional details on how you can enter to win that bundle. Big shout out to our patrons: Disruptor 108, Claudette G, Daniel B, Wildcard, Aramorn, Ben from Work, AJ Gomez, and Number Theory. Thank you guys very much for your support. One other quick thing as to talking about giveaways. Let me move this graphic real quick. I also had a really fun email exchange earlier today with the lovely folks from Blizzard Entertainment, who have also gifted us not one, not two, but 3 standard bundles to give away to all of you as well. Yeah, so super duper cool. Really exciting. So 3 standard bundles from Blizzard to give away to you all as well. So we will put our heads together, figure out a fun way to do a giveaway, and then get back to everybody next week. But yeah, giving away 1 mega bundle and 3 standard bundles. So yeah, super duper exciting. Big giant thank you to our friends at Blizzard as well for these gifts. It's amazing. It's a really fun way to give back to the community, and we really, really appreciate it. So thank you very much, sincerely. To kind of wrap up, getting back on that bandwagon a little bit, if you are looking to support our show, there's a couple ways that you can do that. First off is Patreon. If you visit our website, there's a link to find us. There's a link to our Patreon page. We've got donations starting at $1 a month, and if that's something that you're looking to do to support us, we appreciate it. It's definitely not required, but it is there. If you're somebody who's on Twitch a lot, we do have some emotes that are available to unlock by subscribing to us on Twitch. We do appreciate that as well. Also, a big thank you to Firestone, who has graciously provided us with free premium access. It's really very fun deck tracker along the lines of HS Replays, Hearthstone deck tracker. And I just saw earlier they had another big update. I think anytime there's a balance patch or a patch in Hearthstone, a lot of times you'll see the deck trackers get patches as well. And so, yeah, I had a lot of fun working with them and appreciate their support as well. Hey, Labore, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight and coming on the show and chatting.
Yeah, no problem.
It's been a ton of news this week, so it's been great to get your hot takes on everything.
Definitely.
And always love hanging out with you. Where can people find you if they want to watch your content or engage with you?
Yeah, so I'll post the links in chat, but as far as finding me on Twitter, there's Labore Sangre. So pretty much most of my social medias, if you just look for the same name and you'll find it. So Twitch would be twitch.tv/Labore Sangre. And just like my name in chat, it's the word labor, and then the letter E, then SANGRE. So most of the time, if you just type that in on whatever Twitter, Discord, Twitch, you'll be able to find it. But yeah, I stream on Twitch. I wouldn't say every night, but like every other night or like a couple days in a row and then take a day off. But you'll be able to find me there pretty late at night or late in the morning, however you want to quantify that in Eastern time. And yeah, other than that, I'll make on Twitter. I post about a couple of decks every once in a while or a couple of interesting like ladder interactions, that kind of thing, ideas. Mostly off-meta stuff or just what I've been playing recently.
Awesome.
Yeah, Labore is a great follow on all of the things. Can confirm. Thank you very much for joining us here, Labore. As for me, I can be found on things that enable the longer name, like Twitch, at Electric Sheep City, and things that don't, like Twitter, at eSheep City. Where can people find you around the internet, Hydra?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Twitch at Hydralisk_HS, and you can always find me in our Discord, which I highly recommend that you come check out if you're looking for a wild community, you're looking for some decks, just some interaction, some good times. Come check us out there. And I also want to thank Labore again for coming on. His stream's always great. I've been interacting with you for a while, and you're just good people, and I really do thank you for coming on.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been like 2 years since I first heard about you, and you guys pretty much somewhere along that line.
How fun. It's great to have you back. Hey, if you guys are looking to follow me, I'm active on Twitter at NateWolfTCG. It's NateWolfeTCG. More importantly, you can find the show and everything related at our website, which is borntobewildhs.com. Again, borntobewildhs.com, where you can find links to all of our podcasts, our YouTube videos, our Discord, and all of the other stuff. It's all there on the website. The other thing I think is really cool is if you're looking for other wild content creators, all of the past guests that we've had on our show, we've got all of them listed there with all of their socials so that you can check out their tweets and their streams and their YouTube channels and all of that stuff. So really cool. Highly recommend. Yeah. Awesome, you guys. Well, thank you all for hanging out tonight. It's been a lot of fun, and really excited to see all this new content. It was like we've had such slow news weeks lately to get just so much heaped on us in one day. It's just been information overload. So
yes, sir.
Been super exciting. Sure. But yeah, awesome. All right, well, that's it for us. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you all next week on another new episode of Born to Be Wild. Have a good one, everybody.
Wise words have never been spoken.
Hey, yes, you got it.
I got it right that
time. That's great.
Born to be wild.